everybody, it's Paige Evans. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have a new process video to share with you. This is featuring shimmers. So they've got spray mists and glimmers and spritz and colorings and vibes and all kinds of really fun mixed media things. So I am going to create a background from which I am going to punch a whole bunch of hearts and layer them up. So I was sent all of these fun spray bottles and I will list them off for you, the colors that I'm using. I am using Mustard Seed Vibes, Granny Gray Spritz, Well Blue Me Down Colorings, Jenny B Blue Vibes, Rip Van Periwinkle Vibes, Pink Stilettos Colorings, Ruby Spritz, Sweetheart Vibes, Pretty in Pink Colorings, Iris My Case, Shimmers, and Gold Glimmer Blings. So these are all beautiful colors. I've spritzed them onto this white cardstock background. I'm splashing this gold, super shimmery and shiny gold glimmer blings all across the background to give it some, shimmer and shine. It's gonna be really fun and colorful, and now I am dropping all of the colors once again on top to create different layers and texture and interest. And then I'm gonna let it dry. I think I used a hair dryer to speed up the drying process because nobody's got time for that, right? Can't just sit and wait for the paint to dry. And the final layer, I'm going to splash some watered down white acrylic paint on top. And it really warped my paper. I didn't use gesso on the background, so I'm going to run it through my ink machine a couple of times, and this flattens it out. So that's a fun tip and trick for you. Peeling it out of the protective case, and then I am going to grab some different sized heart punches and start punching hearts. So I created, I think, 3 different backgrounds. One on textured cardstock, and the colors showed up a lot deeper and richer, but I wanted to go for the more pastel look on this smooth white cardstock. So I just started punching hearts from all of them, and then I ended up using only the pastel hearts, and I will use the bright colored hearts on a different project. So I have 4 different heart-sized punches over there on the right. I ended up only using the 3 largest ones, and the teeny tiny heart that I'm using now creates really, tiny hearts that I thought about using as a 4th layer or in between as confetti, but I didn't end up using it, and that's okay. But I just wanted to show you what I was doing. So now I am lightly adhering the heart layers together because I'm going to machine stitch through them. So just a tiny dab of adhesive between each heart helps keep them together as I'm machine stitching through them. And I'm using my Brother sewing machine in a basic running stitch and just stitching right down through the middle of each layered heart, and this attaches them together so they don't come apart. And I also love the texture that it adds. So I'm grabbing another piece of plain smooth white cardstock, some black acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint stripes across this entire background. I'm going to start thin at the top, make the lines a little bit wider towards the middle, and then get narrow again towards the bottom. So it's kind of a diamond shape that I'm making, and I did water down the paint just a little bit. And I love the layered look that this adds, so I'm going back over the stripes with more paint. And I love the contrast that this creates, having all of these pastel colors paired with the super dark black and the super bright white. Once that dried, this is one of my cut files. It's a heart background, and I've used it as a stencil before. So I'm taking some Liquitex modeling paste and one of the shimmers, and I dropped a couple of drops in and mixed it around with the spatula, and now I am scraping it over this cut file. I love that cut files have so many different purposes. Back them, use them as titles, use them as stencils, so that's what I'm doing here. And I just scraped some of that custom made light pink modeling paste through, again narrow at the top, wider in the middle, and narrower at the bottom. This is some iridescent glaze by Vicky Boutin, and I am painting it in between the black painted stripes, and it's going to give it lots of sparkle. And then I'm pouring some of her silver fine glitter on top into that iridescent glaze so that it sticks. And then I'm going to go over it one more time just to make sure that glitter stays in place, because I have a love-hate relationship with glitter. I love the shine that it adds, but when it gets all over my hands and my face, nope. So the glaze helps it stay in place permanently. I'm coming back in with the Blings Gold Glimmer, and I'm going to splash that around. And then again, going to splash some watered down white acrylic paint on top. So we've got lots and lots of interesting textures and things going on this background. So once that dried, I am going to punch this apron scallop border. It's a Fiskars punch from more smooth white cardstock, and I plan to stitch these between all of the black painted stripes. So I need to cut about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 of these full 12-inch length scalloped border punches. So here I'm going to layer them in between the black stripes, and I just trimmed them down, eyeballing it to fit the width of the black painted stripe. I lightly adhered them in place so that I could then machine stitch them down. So here I am just doing a basic running stitch again with white Coats & Clark thread, and then trimming off. I kind of left the thread ends a bit longer. I didn't trim them all the way down, and then I am folding up the scalloped edges for even more texture and interest. So lots of textures going on. Now it's time to add these hearts. I'm folding the hearts in half. This makes the layers of the hearts stand out even more. And no rhyme or reason really to the placement of these hearts. I'm just kind of following the width of the painted stripes. So fewer at the bottom, more in the middle, and fewer again at the top. So it goes from thin to wide to thin. Adding a photo of my darling daughter Jane down here on the bottom right hand side, and then I'm going to attach all of the hearts and the photo in place using foam squares. So this lifts them off the background, creating dimension so it looks really cool from all angles. This is the 2x2 paper pad from my Horizon collection. One is filled with phrases, the other with patterns. So I fussy cut this Love You heart, and it's about the same size of heart as all the other hearts, so I thought that would be a fun title. And then I added some epoxy words on top. I typed and printed a strip of journaling, and I didn't know exactly where I was going to place the strips at first. I thought about adding them here on the white space of this photo, and it wasn't exactly doing it for me, and so I moved it over to the right side of the photo, but again, I just didn't quite like that placement, so I ended up placing them in a row right here across the middle of the layout, and I'm using liquid glue to attach the teeny tiny strips in place. So this layout is super fun to look at from every angle. The shimmer and shine that comes through from all of the shimmers and the glitter, plus all of the different textures in the form of thread and modeling paste and the paint. So here you can see. All right, so I hope you are inspired to check out the Shimmerz Paints. They've got so many different colors and different products. I had so much fun creating this layout. I love using hearts and layers and colors and all the fun things. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I will see you again in my next video. Have a great day. Bye.